Hello there. Well, it's not much of a day for street drinking today. It's pouring down out there. But last week we were talking about street drinking. This week I'm talking about smoking. Today's Telegraph leader ran e-cigarettes free to the NHS. Now, what we should be more aware of is that the cigarette smoker pays for any NHS treatment 8 times over. Also, having much shorter lives, they sacrifice both their life and their health for others. They're supporting seven other NHS patients, each smoker. These martyrs, these altruistic, noble men and women, are, however, shunned by the very society they are propping up. Much like overseas aid workers that risk their lives to help starving children in war zones, knowing full well they may be killed, so too the smoker shoulders the risk, asks for no medals or money, just quietly commits themselves in their moral duty. A parallel with Jesus Christ is clear and obvious one, laying down his life for the sins of others. So too for the 40-a-day hero, often reviled, like Jesus, spat upon, beaten as they carry their own cross. Pelted with stones by children in the street, they are often, smokers these days, for their selfless acts, to bear the brunt of a mindless society, intellectually stunted, brainwashed by TV's obsession with health. Sport, which is often held up as a virtuous practice, 2012 Olympics, the legacy and all this is seen as a thing to do. But it should be borne in mind that the greatest footballers of the last 60 years, George Best and Paul Gascoigne, were both keen smokers. So it's fair to say Alex Higgins as well, the greatest snooker player of all time, was a heavy smoker. I believe he even died from his altruism. But yeah, it should be one that sport and smoking go hand in hand. They're hand in hand together. Virtuous practice. The anti-smoker, much like the sexist, the racist, the homophobe, sees themselves as morally correct. An inversion of the truth occurs in the small-minded. A belief that they have a right to impose their own private moral order on others. Often greedily stuffed to the gills on organic foods, jogging, and attending medieval gyms, which resemble torture chambers. Voluntarily they go to these places, whilst they criticise the altruistic smoker. But I would like to remind them that 100% of non-smokers die, and that's a medical fact that we should all bear in mind. With figures like this, it's a good thing to do for society, and ignore the new Puritans and their Cromwellian agenda and spark up. And if you find yourself the victim of tobaccophobes, it's similar to being, if you find yourself the victim of racist attacks or anything like that. It's best to approach a Jesus-like angle. I say, so turn the other cheek. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. They're dummies. And if you find that as an individual you can't find the moral courage or the bravery to be a smoker yourself, you need not feel shame. The path of righteousness is a tough one and not for everyone. It's but you should pay your respects to the warriors of conscience, the smokers. Always bear that in mind. It's no coincidence that both world wars were fought almost entirely by smokers. Pluck them from the trenches, and you'd see very few. I mean, there was a few non-smokers who fought, but against their snouted brothers, but they would have stood no chance without the smokers. Our nation owes its very independence to these nicotine ninjas, these smoking samurais. Never has so much been owed to so many by so few. And the smoker's a dying breed, so yeah, it ought to be borne in mind. Okay.